Big exciting great news this afternoon as Steve Mnuchin and Jerome Powell testify before House and say the second stimulus package is needed promptly. Meantime, across the street, Nancy Pelosi debuts a congressional bill that has no money for farmers. So cows are very angry with Nancy Pelosi today. How could she not give money to farmers? The cows are speaking out. They call it utter nonsense. They say it's pasture bedtime, Nancy. Move out of the way. They're very upset, the cows. They feel seen but not heard. And they're very happy about the efforts of the Purple Power, calling us legendary. And it's a spokesperson, very utterly cute. But the great news is that one cow, the top spokesperson for the cows, the knight of the cows, Sirloin, spoke out and said, you know what, if you don't get stimulus, you ain't seen $12 ice cream coming out of this body, honey. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining me for afternoon's LALATE on second stimulus and second stimulus package. Hope you are doing great. We have exciting, great news about your stimulus check and stimulus package, FPUC, extension of FPUC and unemployment benefits, rent aid, and a lot of great news today, breaking in the last few minutes. This is afternoon's LALATE that starts every day at 3:30 with the check. This video. Then 30 minutes after this is hazard pay. That $10,000, if you worked during the pandemic as a frontline worker, could be yours. So tune into that video 30 minutes from now. Then 30 minutes after that is unemployment. I'll be answering some of your unemployment questions on camera and telling you how to get more money right now. You're only going to hear this on this channel. And then finally, rent. This is our 2-hour programming block every afternoons on now the net's most watched stimulus channel. Thank you for becoming part of this Purple Power community of lobsters, ducks, guinea pigs, and apparently cows. So go to the front channel and subscribe. If there's ever time to subscribe to the best darn channel out there, it's today. 265,000 subscribers and still growing. Love this community. I love you, and you love, and everyone's so great to each other. Also like this video because it's going to be a really good video. Let's get to the incredible details. In this video, I will be moving away from the cows, put down the blue cheese, and I'll be talking about the comments by Mnuchin and Powell minutes ago about stimulus. Then I'll be going shortly over the craziness of Larry Kudlow. I have to do a little bit of crazy Kudlow every day. He talked about stimulus. And then I will be going to those comments by the president about China trade. You need to know those as well. Finally, I will be going over something that's very quite important, which is, this is where you need to get a pen and paper right now, because I'm going to be going over the senators you need to target who are up for re-election, seats for stimulus. You need to start your campaigns and targeting them right now. On afternoons, I will be doing them, and on evenings, I will be doing the House members who are up for re-election. Oh yeah, we are going in full storm. All bull, no horns. All right, or all horns, no bull. All right, let's get it right to the incredible news. Steve Mnuchin and Jerome Powell spoke before a House subcommittee, the one with Maxine Waters, who, you know, a couple of weeks ago said, get the deal done. Remember her shouting with the finger? Well, it was not as contentious, but the comments were actually quite wonderful. Mnuchin and Powell both said we need stimulus. Mnuchin is Treasury Secretary to Donald Trump. He's in the cabinet. Jerome Powell is head of the Federal Reserve. He's in the Federal Reserve. He's not part of the Trump administration, but he's in charge of monetary policy. And they both said we need stimulus right away. Now, they did not say, they did not go into the details of the second stimulus package. They just called for it. So I'm going to go briefly over the comments. Jerome Powell, we're fully committed to getting every American bank and working as quickly as possible. The housing sector has and business fixed investments show signs of improvement. The labor market, roughly 22 per million jobs were lost in March and April, have been regained, but unemployment activity, however, is still below pre-pandemic levels. We know that. Many economic indicators show marked improvement, both unemployment and overall economic activity, however, remain well below pre-pandemic levels, and the path ahead remains highly uncertain. You know, what I do on this channel is I never parse quotes, what other channels could do, broadcasters would do. They would take the first half of the quote, which says, "Oh, we all look great," and the second half of the quote is, "No, but we still need stimulus." The whole quote says, "We're improving slowly, but we need stimulus." That's the whole quote. We are a big part of the good economic news that we've seen results from the first fiscal support that came from CARES Act, the first stimulus package, says Powell, but we need more. And then when asked what would happen if there's no more stimulus package, he says, "I really don't know what would happen." And he basically said, "We can't risk it." So very, very positive remarks. Mnuchin then talked about, again, basically the same thing. We show improvement in the economy, but we need to get stimulus. Then he spoke about the president. Quote, this is Mnuchin talking, Steve Mnuchin. "The president and I remain committed to providing support for American workers and businesses. I believe a targeted plan is still needed and the administration is ready for a bipartisan agreement." Wonderful. So that was great comments to start the day. Jerome Powell will be speaking 2 more times this week, so I'll have his comments as well. Crazy Kudlow, Larry Kudlow, who is not invited to the party. You know, he's sort of like that 50 Cent lyrics. He's not in the club. He's outside the room. He can't get in. Larry Kudlow went a little crazy, and he was so crazy that on CNBC, which used to employ him, had a title for his interview today and said that Kudlow basically said something completely contradictory than the White House and Mnuchin minutes ago on the other side of town. Basically what Kudlow said, who's director of the U.S. National Economic Council, which is, you know, it's not one of the higher cabinet positions, said that when speaking outside the White House, said, I don't think the recovery depends on a package. Yeah, I don't like that sentence. Do you? I don't like it. But what I want you to understand, if you're new to this channel, is that Larry Kudlow generally has a double-sided sentence every time he talks. The front part of the sentence sounds horrible, and the back part of the sentence sounds good, or it's the reverse. So the remainder of the sentence says, however, I think stimulus is needed. Okay, can you just cut out the first half of the sentence? He's done this before. And ironically, again, what some broadcasters will do is they'll take the first half of the sentence where it says, I don't think we need stimulus, and ignore the second half of the sentence, which is, I think stimulus is really good. Of course, I detailed his interview with Major Garrett from CBS last Friday. Was it last Friday or the Friday before? In which he said, we need stimulus and the president wants stimulus, but the economy is doing good. Okay, that's fine. Just say it in one breath so no one cuts out half of the sentence. Which things does he want? Now, understand this was not a comprehensive interview, and when he spoke to Major Garrett, he specifically said he wants stimulus checks to go out. That was no less than 4 days ago. This interview, which was not comprehensive, says we have also wanted, this is him and the president, to extend the assistance plan, the PPP, to small business. I also we actually had monies over $100 billion we could repurpose to go back into the plan. I think the plan was very effective. I think it did save perhaps $50 million. You know, sometimes when I do a cold read, things sort of pop in my brain, and this is a cold read. Do you love that Do you love that verb in that sentence? I adore the verb in that sentence. Did you hear it? We could repurpose the money. Who has been using that verb before? Yeah, we have. Repurpose. Remember when the president talked about the $300 billion he found 2 weeks ago on a Friday? And I said repurpose it's insane. That's exactly the same verb that I used. Where I said, hey, there's money sitting around. The president has identified the money. He can repurpose it for stimulus checks. Send it out as stimulus checks. And I said there's over $200 million, billion, not 300 million, 300 billion, and additional $200 billion sitting around he could repurpose for enhanced unemployment benefits. Kudlow now says exactly what I've been reporting for 2 weeks. He found $100 billion sitting around for unused PPP, which can be repurposed for other things. Amazing. So the remainder of the quote was basically the same, that Kudlow was in favor of stimulus, but the economy is doing good. Okay, Larry, just keep it all as one breath so we don't edit it out. China trade, which I'm always worried about. More about that in a second, and then the senator seat. So as we sit here today, before we get to those next two items, where are we? Your push has worked. You continually push for a vote on the second stimulus package. The second stimulus package is the problem solver's bill. This is the one that really is for front and center. The HEROES Act is now out to left field, and I don't think it'll ever really gain any traction at all, the Democratic plan. There's a couple reasons why. It omits a lot of stuff and is bloated on other things. And as we go into the fall season and we see so many things that are needed, and that's omitting things, but yet is bloated on other stuff, it's never going to really see the light of day. So the problem solvers bill is really what is front and center. It's supported by Republicans and Democrats, House and Senate, and the push is to get it to a vote. So your effort of the Purple Power to get it to a vote is continuing and is really good. So you got to keep it up. You have to tag the problem solvers, tag the blue dogs, tag the New Age Democrats, say, get this to a vote. The provisions of the problem solvers bill for second stimulus checks are great, with the exception of one revision, and for unemployment benefits are great, with the exception of one provision as well. Let's go over them. $1,200, individual second stimulus check. Amen. And what I always forget to tell you is that it calls for a third stimulus check that would arrive in March of next year. Yes. Individuals, $1,200. Married couples, $2,400. Amen. Family would get dependent checks as well. Now, this is the part that needs to be revised. It calls for a $500 dependent check. Now, it should be $1,200, whether you're a minor dependent or adult dependent. The good news, if you're on SSDI, SSI, Social Security, and railroad benefits, you would get a check under this, but they're calling for $500 as their initial draft. I think it should be $1,200 instead of $500. Next, we're not taking out B, it's taken out for child support. And finally, number of people in the household is not clearly defined, so I would call for 5 people in the household. 5 times 1,200, $6,000. Pretty good. I've been tweeting an image. You should tweet whatever image you need. You should tag them and say, hey, we support you, but make it $1,200 for dependents and make it a family of 5. Next, FPUC, $450 a week, which I'm going to cover more in the video about an hour from now. $450 a week for the first 8 weeks, and then 5 weeks at $600. Really quite great. The retroactive needs to be added. So this is all incredibly great news. What I want you to do, if you got that pen and paper, you haven't gotten it, go get it right now, because it's coming up in about a minute and a half. I'm going to tell you the senators you need to target on social media. The senators you need to target on social media to tell them seats for stimulus or else. Right before that, let me get to China trade, because this is really important when we're talking about stimulus. One of the big economic indicators when we're talking about market stability is China tensions, China-U.S. tensions. And it didn't help today as the president called for world leaders to hold China accountable. The Chinese government and WHO, which is virtually controlled by China, falsely declared there's no evidence of human-to-human transmission, and said the systems, the WHO is a United Nations agency, however. The United Nations must hold China accountable for their actions. Okay. All right, well, let me get to the details about these Senate seats. On Afternoons LALATE, this video, I'm going to go over the Senate seats who are up for re-election. These are the people who need to give you stimulus. If they don't give you stimulus, they need to be voted out. And additionally, I'm holding this to the president. And you're going to see me come down very tough in the next 7 to 10 days. If we don't see an executive order or we don't see any action on the White House, we don't see stimulus checks, guess what this channel is going to come in at? Very, very hard on the president. And you're going to see how hard I'm going to be, because he could have done executive order by now. There's that $300 billion sitting around. We're hearing a lot of talk from all these people in his White House about wanting to give you stimulus checks since June. Well, friggin' do it or zip it. We're not going to vote for you if all you do is you talk about something you keep on saying you're going to do. So either do it or we know you're not going to do it. But let's turn to the senators. All right, so here we go. Alabama, a Democrat, Doug Jones. Alaska, Republican, Dan Sullivan, up for re-election. These are people you need to kick out of Congress if they don't give you stimulus. Arizona, Republican, Martha McSally. Arkansas, Republican, Tom Cotton. Colorado, Republican, Cory Gardner. Delaware, Republican, Chris Coons. Georgia, Republican David Perdue. Republican in Georgia also Kelly Loeffler. Idaho, Republican Kim Risch. Illinois, Democrat Dick Durbin. Iowa, Republican Joni Ers. Kansas, Republican Pat Roberts. Kentucky, Mitch McConnell. Republican Louisiana, Republican Bill Cassidy. Maine, Republican Susan Collins. Susan Collins needs to be like 5 feet out the door. She, if you watch Mornings LA today, really tried to screw us over by introducing a standalone bill for airline bailouts. Remember, less than 24 hours ago, the airlines were supposed to be part of the second stimulus package, and they were to anchor us to the finish line and get us done by an October 1st deadline because they have a furlough deadline. Guess what she did? She tried to put them in a standalone bill with her wonderful colleague out of Mississippi. Not the one that's up for re-election, another one. Horrible. Susan Collins, you need to be gone. Next, Massachusetts Democrat Ed Markey. Michigan Democrat Gary Peters. Minnesota Democrat Tina Smith. Mississippi Republican Cindy Hyde-Smith. Montana Republican Steve Daines. Nebraska Ben Sasse. New Hampshire Jeannie Shannon. If you're hearing these names and you think, wow, I got to target all of them, you know what I'm going to do? Is I'm going to tweet an image that shows all of their names, and so you can go down the list and target everyone you want to target. So I'll send that. I'll tweet that about the time of this broadcast. Where was I? Oh, New Jersey. Cory Booker, who does much of nothing. What a waste of a senator. New Mexico, Tom Udon. North Carolina, Thom Tillis. Oklahoma, Jim Inofre. Oregon, Democrat Jim Merkel. Rhode Island, Democrat Jack Reed. South Carolina, Republican Lindsey Graham. Lord. South Dakota, Republican Mike Rounds. Tennessee, Republican Lamar Alexander. Texas, Republican John Cornyn, who's been really quite wonderful for EIDL. Good guy. Virginia, Democrat Mark Warner. West Virginia, Republican Shelley Moore. Did I say Virginia was a Virginia Democrat, Mark Warner, West Virginia Republican Shelley Moore, and Wyoming Republican Mike Enzi. Boy, these are people you got to get. You got to get to them and say, hey, you don't give us stimulus, we're not going to give you a seat. You're going to be gone. Enjoy your lack of enhanced unemployment benefits starting, January 1. You have to really ramp it up. The focus still remains keeping this narrative front page and center because there's a lot of distractions. The distractions that we have currently are the Supreme Court nominee, the congressional budget, which apparently may not be agreed upon and has a September 30th deadline. And then we have all these groups, airlines, hotels, everyone's rushing to the front to try to get stimulus packages because they're imploding. But there's us, and so we're not going to worry about them. We're going to stay on our focus, stay positive, stay motivated, and stay focused, and do what we have to do. That's the power of the purple. We don't focus on detraction and negativity. We focus on what we have to do. We're not naive. We're not uneducated. We're not deer in headlights or rose-colored glasses. We know the bad and we know the good, but we're focused on getting what we need, which is stimulus. All right, let me get to some of your 1,700 comments from yesterday. Wow. Paul Ralph, the day before was 1,200, so we went up almost 500 comments. No matter what they do, it's not enough. Vicky DeVere, Nancy will go have to buy less ice cream stock, went down. Jennifer Vinago, it's like we're children of divorced parents. Gilly B, I feel like I'm token in a Monopoly game. Pass the bill so I can pass and go collect my $200. Sharon, I can't believe now they panic. So it took the airlines to push the bill, but then they didn't take the people that are suffering this pandemic seriously to get it passed ASAP. Really? Catherine, no, it's actually worse now. Now these two crazy people, Wicker and Collins, Senator Wicker and Senator Collins, now want to give a pass to the airlines. And for some reason it missed my notes for this broadcast, but Delta Airlines has got an extension for their deadline to November 1st. That doesn't do anything for the rest of the airlines, though. Catherine Pippin, I was wondering how people are flying if they don't really have planes to live, pay the rent, I don't know. The airlines say there's no one on the planes, so they say that it's 80% income. Their income is down 85% year to date. They're losing their shirts. Randall Houston. This is why I need stimulus checks. Amen. Jimmy Stilts. They've slacked on vacations all year. Now look, they're slammed. I love that. That's a great comment. It's very true. They haven't done crap all year, and now they're slammed, and they got too much to do in too short a time. They're a bunch of awful people. Limelight. I'm not counting Louis Kimmel. Louis Kimmel. I feel like we're in a very bad version of the Wizard of Oz. Susan DeHurt. Almost 6 months since the first check. They should give more. Susan Rayburn. We need more than $1,200. Steve. I don't care who signs a check. Just sign it already. Amen. The Heroes Act, which is never going to see light of day, says you can't get a stimulus check if it's signed by the president. I mean, that's just so petty. I don't care if it's signed by Romper Room. Just send it out. Dale Gaines, we need the bill now. Dave Evans, I just want to hear that the House and Senate have passed the bill. Christine Lewis, I've heard that Nancy Pelosi is building an underground air salon. Kathy, I don't know. Lisa, this is a microwave generation. Everything has to be done instantly. Septimus Prime, pass the bill already. Just do it, says Mary Ellen. Just do it. Jimmy Harden. Yes, I believe this. They're stating their standard voting days should go out the window. Ernest Fruitwell. They need to vote or lose their seats come election. Amen. James Kind. Their flavor is going to be humble pie. Gladys Carroll. It's a Hunger Action Month. Also, Summer Browning. I agree with you. The amount is appreciated. But in reality, $1,200 doesn't go far in this in your environment. I agree with you. Every time that I talk about $1,200 check, understand that I don't support a $1,200 check. I don't even know where that number came from. And, you know, I was very, very irate the very first time I recorded one of these videos where I said, hey, I mean, you were entitled to multiple checks under the first stimulus package. It said multiple checks. And some bunch of very bad congressional leaders, including the Temple Doom, took out the multiple provisions, say we'll get to it when we are back from, you know, in a couple weeks. Well, they took their vacation, they never got to it. And here we are, and we're in September, and we still don't have any of those checks from April, May, June, July, August. It's just move out of the way, as the cows would say. If you're new to this community, you need to subscribe. I mean, this is the best darn community there is out there. So go to the Frontage channel and subscribe. There's a red button. Hit that red button. And there's a bell next to it. Hit the bell. When you subscribe, you get an alert when a new video goes live. You're part of this Purple Power community. I see you subscribed. I respond to people who are subscribed community, Purple people before others. It's going to be a great day. Also like this video because it's a very informative video that tries to keep you updated to the minute. There's a reason why I have so many different videos because I have a different subject by the hour to cover for you. And this is totally brand new news since even this morning. Coming up next is hazard pay with shocking details. You need to tune in for that. And then 30 minutes after that is unemployment and finally rent. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, stay focused, and have a great afternoon. And stay available for more.